Hello and welcome back to RageGamingVideos and a new Shadow of the Erdtree video. This continues our things you might not have known about in the DLC, a series we're doing about things that are interesting, unique, weird, or often useful. But today we have a special episode because we're focused on the DLC patch. Patch point 13, which has introduced a bunch of new stuff. The meta has really shifted. A lot of bugs have been fixed and things have been introduced. And yes, new bugs have been introduced. New weird stuff that's actually quite useful or just cool, and some serious quality of life stuff that, is worth knowing about. So this is a new patch focused episode. Let's get into it. To kick today's episode off then, we have a focus to do with Euporia and also the Sword of Light, but I believe this works with other things as we'll test. And I'm going to see if this works live because I'm very excited to see it. There used to be this old bug with certain VFXs and how you could transfer lights and cool VFX effects of one weapon to another. And it seems with this patch, that's come back with Euporia specifically. In this patch, Euporia was buffed, and so a lot of people are actually using it. This may have existed before the patch then, and maybe people just weren't aware. But in short, there is a visual effect that occurs when you buff up Euporia by attacking. So let's get that going. We can see how it's glowing white now, or yellow, it's going. And very nicely in this patch, that buff itself, that effect, will last a lot longer, over half a minute in fact. So while that buff is going, we simply two-hand our offhand weapon. In the case of Sword of Light here, you can see how it gives the visual effect of a twin blade. But of course, it's still the moveset of the sword itself. It's not like two twin blades. I cannot power stance as if it was, but I can reactivate the buff constantly by simply two-handing the offhand weapon. And it really does look like I've got two holy twin blades, which is really cool visually, just a very satisfying thing. And also this is a meta combination, by the way, of Euporia and Sword of Light, because this is going to buff your holy damage, and this unique weapon skill is all about holy damage. But it's not specifically about the Sword of Light, it's just having an offhand weapon and then two-handing it while that buff is actually going. So let me get that going too. So here we are with the buff going. Let's two-hand the offhand weapon. Yep, works with this random light greatsword. When I swap to another weapon, it's already applied again, so I don't even have to keep reapplying it, although obviously I can do that whenever I like. It is weird that it makes the sound effect though, as if it's a real buff. But again, I'm not able to use a special moveset with it or anything like that. It is just a normal weapon. When I two-hand it, it's just going to work as a normal backhand blade. There's no power stance moveset or anything like that. Just a cool visual, which honestly, yeah, is harmless and pretty cool. I imagine they'll fix it eventually, but if you like the look of it, make use of it while you can. Okay, next one, we are standing in front of Eleanor's boss fight, and this one's a big one. Crazy. You're never gonna believe this. As you can see in the boss arena, it's completely empty except for a chair has been added. They have added a chair to Relena's boss room. She's allowed to sit. It can be destroyed mid-fight. Just be warned. Which is obviously absolutely heartbreaking and no one wants that. But not to worry, when you rest at the site of grace now, just like usual, it will refresh the area and the chair will come back. What an absolutely crazy concept. We've never seen anything of the like. I don't know why they cared to do this really subtle addition, but it's appreciated, I guess. So there you go, a thing you didn't know in the DLC for patch 13.0. Right, for this one, we have what is just wonderful quality of life. The summoning of Torrent is usually an easy thing, but sometimes you find yourself in the open world or certain encounters where Torrent will die, and I think we're all familiar with having to use one flask to bring back Torrent. It brings up that prompt, it starts on cancel or no, you move it to okay, you press it, Torrent comes back, and now you can summon him. That in concept is fine, but in reality, man, is that annoying in the middle of a boss fight or in certain tough situations where you really need to get back on Torrent right now. The little delay can be absolutely devastating, which is why we're very excited with this patch, that as it says, they've changed the default selection of the OK/cancel prompt that shows up when using the Spectral Steed whistle. While the Spectral Steed is dead, the default selection position is now okay. So when Torrent goes down now, I'm able to instantly resummon him using one of my flasks. So we're gonna let him go down. Like so, almost. He's still alive. There's the hit. He's gone. So it's going to still bring up the menu as before when I tried to summon him, but it instantly starts on OK. So compared to having to sort of awkwardly do this, then OK, then press it, I should be able to just instantly do it like so. And then, yeah, it's an instant summon right off the bat. That's so much smoother. That's going to be great in the open world. But not just that. Say in the new boss fight change to the final boss, the Elden Beast, when he goes down there, it's going to be absolutely life-changing. So a really nice quality of life feature there that I just wanted to highlight in this video. Next up, I'm here in the Jagged Peaks, although there's another location I can go to show this. Basically, any Igon enjoyer is going to know that walking in here and summoning him can be awkward. On the first summon against Bale specifically, you have to walk to the center of the room, then go back to the entrance where the summon sign is, putting your back to this boss and leaving yourself very vulnerable. Worse is when you activate the summon sign. You have to interact with it, and then you get a, do you want to summon this character or not? Move it to yes, then press it. Now turn all the way back around to the boss that's probably about to crush you into the dirt in 0.1 seconds. In this patch, they've addressed this really annoying mechanic by making it an instant summon, kind of like the torrent quality of life by comparison. Now on this first summon, I still have to run to the center to actually activate him, and there's the summon. And as you can see, it's an instant summon. Yeah, as you saw, I instantly summoned him. There was not even a prompt necessary there to be like, hey, do you really want to summon this guy? Did you accidentally interact with the sign? No, the moment you press the interact button, which for me is triangle on my controller, it was an instant summon for Bale. He's brought in right away. That's just such a nice quality of life update that I would appreciate in any of the Soulsborne series in general, but it's nice to have it here in Elden Ring, and especially for an important summon like Bale and Igon, which is an important one that I think most people will probably try to do. But to quickly give you another example, what about, say, when we go encounter everyone's favorite Messmer? There's a summon in here that could be relevant, and as you see, as I've walked right in, let's go to the summon sign, and I'm going to interact with it and instantly bring him in, no prompt necessary. He's already in here. Meanwhile, I'm getting impaled and grabbed a second time instantly. So yes, a seriously nice quality of life there on display. I'm sure there's going to be other summon examples where this is going to be very handy, but these are the two that just seem most obvious to me. Next up then, we have one to do with this, Raw Rugala, a new one in the DLC. It has kind of multiple charges. You could compare it to, say, Greyol's Raw, but obviously it's got longer ticks of damage, and it even knocks enemies down when you use it. Now, what you might imagine is this. When I use it against enemies, they're sent flying from my location. Of course, they're going to be knocked back, and the direction they're knocked back is essentially away from me, the source of the raw, in relation to wherever they were standing, and me as the center point. All normal physics and logical. But now take a look in PvP. It might look like it's working as normal, being knocked back in a normal way by me or by the other player, but look what happens when I face the other direction. Instead of being knocked away from my source of the raw, as they should be, they're actually being knocked in the direction I'm facing. So I'm able to rip them towards me if I want, or send them flying away from me in weird, unexpected ways. That's kind of random and obviously unintentional, but then you think about gravity and physics, and especially in invasion scenarios where there's a lot of ledges and falls and maybe enemies you could knock them into. So take Josh here standing to my side. We're both facing the same direction. He's standing just to my side, so he should be knocked away from me, probably back to safety on the side of the ledge here. Because I'm facing towards the ledge though, he's gonna fly right past me, the direction I'm looking, and I'm kind of like force pushing him or throwing him off the side. This is obviously a bug and unintentional, but pretty incredible for the time being. There's no way they're not going to patch this because it's obviously very dumb, but it only works in PvP, not against normal enemies, at least in my testing. So a rare PvP focused or online play, little thing for you. A final thing that I want to talk about to do with this patch then is specifically to do with the Horned Warrior Ashes, because it's kind of stand out of all the new ashes. You may have seen this absolute wall of will no longer stagger as easily. Now, some of them also got extra buffs, and those are the ones that we've been looking at. But again, the standout one is this Horned Warrior. It's got increased health and damage negations, except for pierce attacks, which isn't that common. But yeah, will no longer stagger as easily. A lot of people are talking about this one because what that seems to mean is that it will essentially not stagger, or rather it's really hard to get it to stagger. Against humanoid enemies, it's just not going to happen, especially more open world bosses too. Against bigger bosses, like you're seeing here with the Dancing Lion, it is possible, but it is minor. Letting him completely solo this fight while I'm just watching and throwing an occasional heal. I think I saw him stagger twice, and yeah, he was able to solo it. I do believe, based on this patch and this change, that it's very likely, if not certain, that the Horned Warrior Ashes is going to be your best summon for distracting and essentially tanking. But that's not to say that the damage output it doesn't have isn't good. And it's also reliable. The dude is just massive, so his swings and attacks are quite, wide reaching. He also buffs up the weapon at times, does these slams where roots come out. That's quite consistent for hitting and AoE potential. So yes, to say the least, we've been very impressed by the summon. So if you're someone who's like, I don't want to use Mimic Tier, but I do want to use summons, this might be a top pick, very least certainly for distracting the enemy and being a tank summon. And without a doubt, he will no longer stagger as easily. But there you have it, a new set of things you might not have known about in this DLC, with a heavy focus this time, of course, on the patch. This was everything we were able to find, at least after the first day of testing and looking at the community finds as well. But if there's anything patch focused that you're aware of that we could talk about in the future that you found, then do let us know in the comments. Though if there's anything outside of the patch that does seem interesting or you want to suggest for the series, then feel free to drop that too. But for now then, I've been Hollow, you've been you, thanks for watching.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.